Here we have two sets of headphones that came in for repair. I already have one of them in front of me, disassembled, and it came in for no power. It's not taking a charge. And what's the model on the headphones? Who else but The Rock? Do you smell what The Rock is cooking? Let's see what's going on. Both of them came in for exactly the same issue. Now we have the main board right here with a lot of wires soldered onto the back. I do not want to desolder every single wire and take out the board to see what's going on. So we're going to keep the wires soldered onto the board. And then those wires, they connect with the left side of the headphones. And then you have a connection all the way to the speaker. It's hard to focus on everything because we are working under a microscope, and the headphone is not a microscopic device. Right, so we have the speaker, we have the plastic controller box, the left one, or it could be the right one. We have the circuit board with all the wires soldered onto the board. We have the charging port, and we have the battery. Another circuit board, more wires going on to the right side or left side speaker. So one thing I noticed, if you look at the charging port, it looks damaged. And the same goes with the other one. Customer mailed over two of them. We're not just working with the board, but we have to work with the whole headphone standing up and try to position it in a way where we can easily desolder that connector. Should we extend it outside like this? You see, I'm working with the headphone like this. I have this laid on my bench and I'm trying to work with that board. The only other way would be to desolder every wire on that board and work on it comfortably, but I do not want to do that. We have a lot of wires that we need to desolder and resolder. So I would rather suffer trying to work on it like this than desolder all those wires. And then we have to keep track where each wire is going. We have to take a picture. I think what we're going to do is use low melt solder. That would be the easiest way to desolder this connector. We can apply hot air, but I do not want to melt the insulation on the wires. Now, what happens after we desolder the connector? Where are we going to get a similar connector like this one? I'll cover this in a few minutes. Just bear with me. We're going to apply original Amtech Flux right here, front pins, and here. Fume extractor on. If you are in the same type of business or you do this as a hobby, you can buy everything off our site: the fume extractor, soldering station, low melt solder, flux, this amazing microscope, whatever you need. Just log into NorthridgeFix.com, click on shop, add to cart, checkout, and we almost always ship out same day. Let me grab that board with my hand. So we are soaking the joint with low melt solder. We're gonna do the same right here. And the smoke that you are seeing is because of that rubbery piece. The piece of whatever that they have here. Let me take it out. We can put it back on later. We're gonna add more flux, more low melt solder, and we should be able to easily remove that connector. The magic of low melt solder. We're gonna soak the pins with low melt. The magic of low melt solder. See what happened here? The perfect demonstration on what low melt solder does. I keep getting the question, what is low melt solder? What's low melt solder? That's what it does. We are working on a wobbly board and no issues. Grab the board. Very nice. Now the fun part. Where do we get a similar connector from? Let's take a look at the connector and see how it looks like. As you know, since 2019, I think, or maybe 2020, we created a box with all the charging ports that you can think of. And we took pictures of every single port inside that box and labeled that box with a number. Compartment number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. Each compartment has 5 ports. Right now we are looking for a connector that looks like this. So what am I looking for in a connector? We are looking for a bottom lip. We see lips on the sides. We see 2 legs. 1 and 2. And we see 2 notches right here and 1 tiny one in the center. Now we may have a similar port that does not look exactly the same that we can use, but right now as an initial inspection, we see a big lip on the bottom, we see a smaller lip on the top. If we find a port that does not have a lip on top, that's okay. We see lips on the sides, 2 notches, a dimple in the middle, and 2 legs. All right. Now, if you log into our site, NorthridgeFix.com, search for charging, maybe charging box. Yes. And click on the first one. You can buy the ports individually or in a box, the whole box with all the ports. And click on the link that you see right here. We have photos for every port that we have inside the box. We took those photos, every single one. Back then we spent a lot of time going over those ports and we took pictures for every single port. You see our watermark in the center of every photo. And now we're gonna look at the ports. Look at this one, port number 3. Looks similar, right? If we click on it, we see a lip on the top. We see lips on the sides. A lip at the bottom. We have 2 legs. Perfect. This looks similar, except for the dimples and notches that we have on top, but it looks similar. The box looks something like this. We have the box labeled from 1 to 100. Every compartment has 5 ports. Every model, I have it backwards. Every model, we have 5 ports inside each compartment, except for, I think, compartment number 1. And there may be one other compartment where we only have 3 ports instead of 5 because the ports are big. So we are looking for number 3. We're gonna open up compartment number 3. And we're gonna take out a connector right here. And you cannot see a thing because the camera is focusing on my pretty eyes. Let's take a look. We're gonna compare between the customer's connector and this one. Dimensions, the same. Lips from the sides, up and down, we have them. The notches I do not care about, whether the notch is here or on the bottom or a dimple, we do not care about that. And if we flip the connector, the pins are in the middle, right? Where are the pins? Right there. Same size pins. Now the only difference I see with this connector is we have plastic tabs that we need to cut off right here and right here. I wish every manufacturer out there or every company that create devices would use one standard connector. Why have 100 different type of connectors that do basically the same job? Why create those tabs or not create the tabs or have 2 legs or 4 legs or lips or no lips? Why? Now one thing I failed to mention or I forgot to look at is if that connector is reversed, and the connector is reversed, that connector is not going to work. One of them has 5 volts on the right and one of them has 5 volts on the left. One of them has ground on the right, one of them has ground on the left. This will not work. You see how those connectors are reversed? This will not work. So we need to have 2 legs and we need the straight part to be on the bottom and the curved part to be on top. So if the connector is like this, the straight part is from the bottom and the curved part is from the top. This will not work. Let's go back here. All right, now if you look at connector number 29, we see that straight is on the bottom and the curved lip is on the top. We do not have a lip, but it doesn't matter. And we're gonna have to cut off the legs on the back. We do not need the legs on the back. Let's try that. All right, so let's take a look. I grabbed number 29 and it looks something like this. You see how we have straight on the bottom, curved on the top. 2 pins in the center, but we also have 2 pins on the back. So we're gonna have to cut the pins on the back. But before we do so, let me just compare it with the customer's connector. The connector looks the same as far as dimensions go. The leg is a little bit shorter, but that's okay. One thing we need to do is just remove this. We do not need it. So we're gonna rock it back and forth. Okay. We almost lost that pin in the process. Perfect. So we did one side. And let me just do the other side quick. In reality, this would be deemed a no fix because no part exists for the headphones, but we are making it work. How much are the headphones? I think around $280 last time I checked. You see how the headphones are wobbling left and right? There's nothing I can do about it. So you're gonna see the image go in focus and out of focus. What can you do? And for this one, I think we need to use our NF.mini pen. And to use the NF.mini pen, I need to cut a hole in my gloves. NF.mini is capacitive touch, and we need to touch that button with our skin in order for the pen to activate. Right here. Just touch. Once you release your finger, it's gonna go into sleep mode and it's gonna elongate the life of the tip. I do not have to press on the button, just touch. This is called the NF.mini pen. If you do not already have one and you are in the same type of business, you know what to do. I don't want to keep holding your hands. Some people up to this day, they ask, what flux are you using? Or what's that soldering pen that you are using? Even though in every video, every single video, I mention the tools that we use and where to get them from. Every single video. And I accidentally burned my thumb, this one right here, but that's okay. That's why we have two thumbs. If one goes bad, we have another. What can you do? Part of the job. And look at the soldering of that connector. Beautiful. I just want to make sure that I'm touching up on the pins and pad. Pins and pads. And we are done. We are done, ladies and germs. Look at this. See it? You see the out of focus feature on that camera? Beautiful. The bokeh. Where the background is in focus and the front is not in focus. Beautiful. Okay, where is it? It doesn't matter. All right, so we replaced the charging port beautifully. The charging port is connected and soldered on better than factory. And I'm gonna hand this over to Big Boss to reassemble and test. But maybe before I give it to him, why not plug the charging cable and see if we see any signs of life. I'm gonna connect that cable. Yes, I see a red light. Let me just move the camera so you can see what I'm talking about. We see the red light right here. You should be able to see it. And if we look at the charging station, we have 5 volts at 0.7 amps. I have 2 things being charged on the station right now. One of them is charging at 9 volts, and the headphones are charging at 5.2 volts, 5 volts at 0.7 amps. Awesome. We know the battery is charging because of the 0.7 amp charge that we saw on the meter. I'm gonna hand this over to Big Boss to reassemble and test it further. Charge the battery 100%, connect it to Bluetooth, and make sure that both sides are working. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think. Leave it down in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll do something else in the next video.